Real Americans in red states, I would point out, are losing money today because of these policies. In Texas, anti-ESG laws like the one you're proposing are costing the state nearly $700 million in lost economic activity and more than 3,000 jobs. In Kansas, the state budget office has estimated that anti-ESG laws there would cost retirees $3.6 billion in lost returns over 10 years. That is what you are imposing on the rest of the world if you got this done. Madam Speaker, I get it. Competition is hard. It's scary. Climate change is real. And no matter how nightmarish, certain white folks of low character might find the realization of Martin Luther King's dream, it is the only way that we move forward as a society. In the name of free markets and
for
a
what
brighter
purpose is the
tomorrow,
gentlewoman from North Carolina
I
rise?
urge a no vote.
I ask that the Speaker's words be taken down.
On what basis?
The gentleman will suspend.
Purpose, does the gentlewoman from North Carolina seek recognition?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I withdraw my demand.
The demand is withdrawn. Way is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I would reiterate, as I hope was clear from the plain text of my remarks, they were not directed at anybody in the chamber. I'll close just by saying that in the name of free markets and a brighter, more tolerant tomorrow, I urge a no vote on this bill, and I yield back.
Well, if the shoe fits.
Chairman, I rise in opposition to this amendment, and quite frankly, I'm dumbfounded. You're aware that this conversation is in public, so I won't put words in your mouth, but I will use your own words. You say today you don't want to consolidate wealth amongst the few. What do you think your tax scam did? This is about workers. You say you're worried about deficit spending. Hallelujah. Suddenly you're worried about it. You weren't worried about deficit spending when it came to endless wars. You weren't worried about deficit spending when it came to a tax scam. This conversation is in public. You don't get to go back to your districts now and say you're on the side of workers. But whose side are you on? Because there's one thing this amendment will do. It will boost corporate profits. It will put money in the hands of billionaires, and it will rip off workers. So today, out in public, you reveal yourself to be the hypocrites that you are. We're going to make sure that people remember this. Thank you. I yield back.
Madam Speaker, I ask for the gentleman's word to be taken down.
Members are reminded to direct their remarks to the chair.
Madam Speaker, I ask for the gentleman's words to be taken down. I am not a hypocrite.
With all due respect, ma'am, you are.
Gentleman will suspend.
Madam Speaker,
Gentleman will suspend.
I ask that the gentleman's words be taken down.
Now, I know none of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle will admit to being racist. And I don't think they are. But when you look at the rhetoric and you hear the talking points and look at the legislation that's put forward, what are we to say?
The gentleman will suspend. There might be information on food pantries, for example, if a student needed that kind of help. There might be information on pediatricians who are in the area.
Let me follow up on the food.
Anybody can think if you have a baby, what kind of resources do you need?
Sure. Well, so with respect to the food pantry, it's a good example. I went online. The American Pregnancy Association has a list of financial resources that are available to pregnant mothers to better inform them about the resources that might be available. The first item on their list is WIC, Women, Infants, and Children Supplemental Fund Program, right? You're familiar with WIC?
Yes.
Of course. Right, the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children. It's the #1 resource on this website that I went on. And my understanding is that House Republicans, 190 of them in this Congress, voted to rescind $500 million in WIC funding. You recall that vote back in September?
Not in particular the numbers or anything about the vote.
Well, I can represent to you that in September of last year, 190 House Republicans voted to rescind $500 million in WIC funding. And that included view as well.
That's the radical side. We're not the radical people. We know we have a culture of life. We have had a culture of life in this country. I fear it is eroding.
Virginia Foxx is one of the most reliable and loyal mouthpieces for corporate lobbyists, and she's a master of derailing real debate with nonsense talking points. She's used her position to promote the interests of her billionaire donors for years, feels like centuries at this point, especially for-profit college companies and pro-Israel lobbyists. She's led the charge to punish universities that divest from Israeli businesses, and recently introduced legislation to prevent those universities from receiving any federal student aid. She trades more stocks than almost any other member of Congress. Did you know that? And it remains to be seen how much longer she can wield that influence to serve corporate interests over the needs of everyday Americans before something changes. Her legacy of prioritizing the interests of billionaires over workers and students will continue to shape the policies that she leaves behind.